What's up, everybody? This is Bruce, aka Geektacular. You are watching Instant Gratification, and this is episode 16 on a momentous 2012 Leap Day, February 29th, 2012. With me, as always, you may remember him from other web shows, such as previous episodes of Instant Gratification. It's just Nathan.
You know, you're not wearing yellow and blue. I should be able to poke you in the eye.
I don't know what that means.
Never mind. If you don't get it, too bad for you. It's a Leap Day tradition.
Obviously, right?
Obviously.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're watching episode 16 of Instant Gratification here, and I guess if you want to, do you just want to go straight into it?
Well, I guess maybe before that, we should say that usually we pick the videos. We pick the movies to watch. And this is really sort of a continuation of a crossover between Geektacular.TV shows. Because I was mentioned in the last episode of Wrestle Geek Weekly, since I went along with you guys to the TNA house show.
Yes!
And watched a man do the claw to everybody.
Claw! It was good. It was good times.
We might have to incorporate that into our rating scheme, but we'll have to see. Buy, stream, clip, or claw.
I think claw should be like one level down from skip. Like, not only should you not watch it, but you'll feel like clawing your face off.
That's an interesting...
Like you'd
we can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Anyway, your co-host on Wrestle Geek Weekly, Mr. Sean, whatever his name is,
Hopkins.
He was the one who suggested this pick.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll sort of make it unofficially... Well, why don't you talk a little bit about the movie?
Okay, well, for those of...
What we do first.
Yeah, so basically, if you've never seen this show, we watch streaming movies online. They tend to be on Netflix usually. They're streaming at the time that we review them, at least. And so occasionally we'll pick something from another website. But basically, one of us picks it. We alternate each week, and then we review the movie. And we decide whether it's something that is worth buying, something worth streaming online, if you have, Netflix Instant Watch or whatnot, something you should skip, or just something you shouldn't even waste your time on. So we basically watch these movies, do that, and because it's stuff you can stream online, after you watch this, or just anytime, you can actually just go online and watch the movies that we're talking about for yourself. You can watch it right after you watch us if you want, and see what you think of it, and chime in and all that good stuff.
Or once you hear what the movie is, hit pause, go watch the movie, and then come back. By then, YouTube will have buffered and all that good stuff, and then you'll be able to see if you agree with us or not.
Yeah, that's... All kinds of possibilities are open for instant gratification. So, and like in this episode, we also occasionally take viewer requests. So we're always open to a nice tweet asking us to do a movie, or a message on our Facebook wall, anything like that. Emails, we'll accept most of them. Well, I think we've done this a few times where we've done viewer requested things.
We've taken viewer requests, but we've never actually reviewed any of them.
That's true. We did have some questionable requests in the past.
So this is the first one that we're actually going for, and he's sort of in the Geektacular family, if you will.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, let's cut to the chase. What's the movie?
The movie for today is Mystery Team. Woo! It's supposed to be like a spooky Scooby-Doo sort of noise.
We got it.
Did it work? I think I just freaked your cat out, by the way.
It's okay.
Anyway, basically, just to summarize the film briefly, it's about three guys who, when they're kids, they create like a crime-solving group between the three of them called the Mystery Team. and it's kind of like the Hardy Boys or something, or like Scooby-Doo, and they solve various small petty crimes or whatnot, and then they grow up, they become teenagers in high school, and then they actually get a serious crime to investigate, and they have wacky adventures investigating the crime. Does that sound about fair?
Yeah, that's a good description.
Okay. So yeah, that's the basic premise of the film without giving too much away. There aren't too many like extra twists or anything to give away. Unlike Red State, the last movie we did, where we had to go off on like a 20-minute bonus episode about one of the twists.
The actual ending and the spoilers and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is a little bit more less twists involved. So it should be a little more straightforward to discuss. But so I guess we'll start out with kind of the things that we liked about the movie, which is usually how we do things. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Why don't you start this time?
Okay. I thought this movie had a lot of like really funny one-liner sort of lines. Like there were a lot of really random things that they would kind of say it in the context, but for some reason it was like way more funny than everything else that had been happening for the last 10 minutes. Like they had a lot of those kind of moments where like, you know, the situation would be kind of weird, but not like chuckle funny, and then all out of the blue, like they would throw out a really funny one-liner, and it would make me laugh. So I thought it had a lot of good sort of like kind of like out of left field one-liner moments here and there. Mm-hmm. You have anything?
I think you're hitting probably its best feature right on the head, which is that there are moments of really humorous, you know, material, whether it's from the main actors or from the female lead. And another thing to point out, I guess, is that the star of the film and one of the writers and, you know, people who put this film together is Donald Glover, who is hitting it pretty big these days as a character on Community, as the rapper Childish Gambino, as a stand-up comic in his own right. He's doing a lot of different things, and people seem to really like him. And especially in the case of Community, you know, it's got that cult following these days that one might argue Arrested Development had, and some other, you know, shows like that. So I think certainly there's a relationship there, and you see some people from other NBC shows. The female lead is I forget her name, but she's on Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
And there's some other sort of cameos or bit parts with people that it's obvious that he sort of knew from somewhere else and brought them in. In that it is, and I don't want to say vanity project, because I don't think it is. But it is sort of it's these guys that sort of put together a film. And it played at Sundance and all that sort of thing. It was never really meant to be a box office smash or anything like that. So in that respect, it highlights them as funny people periodically throughout the film. And you get those real sort of weird moments of hilarity. And that's nice. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That was a nice part of the film, and I think, and this may just be me being partial to her, but the female lead does add to it, I guess. Like they ask why she dresses all in black at one point, and she says that she used to be goth, and they say used to be, and she said, yeah, I just don't like shopping. But the way that she delivers it is really good, and she's kind of playing the same character that I've seen her play a lot, but she does it well. And it fit in. It was a nice foil to the boisterous, very childlike characters that a lot of the other folks play.
Yeah, I guess another just kind of general aspect that I liked about it was that the characters, the three main characters, are obviously written to be extremely, you know, childish and juvenile.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of their thing. even though they're supposed to be like 18 or something.
Right.
But I think they did a good job of, because it would have been really easy to make a similar movie, but not make the contrast between them and everybody else quite as harsh, you know?
Well, yeah, and how sort of obvious it is to everyone else that what they're doing is stupid.
Right.
Like, not just whimsical or whatever, like they're idiots. In the respect that, like, Donald Glover dresses up in all sorts of really lame disguises and tries to pass himself off as a rich old guy or as, you know, whatever, and it just doesn't work. And it's very obviously, painfully doesn't work. And the fact that everybody is sort of not in on the game, you know, they understand what's happening and they're just not having it.
Yeah, I mean, you could have made a similar movie for, you know, that was like PG and not, you know, not have it be quite as, you know, but everybody else is like dropping F-bombs everywhere. They go into like a strip club. Like, there's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of the funny moments draw from the contrast between them and the other, like, townspeople.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's sort of that out of place quality.
Yeah.
That otherness that always is good in comedy or in horror, for that matter. Same kind of deal.
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job of that too, for sure. I found myself liking particular characters, and I'm not sure exactly why. But like, neither of the three main characters were like the most memorable characters in the movie for me, which might be a negative, I guess, possibly. But like, there's one guy who works in a convenience store named, I think his name is Jordy in the movie. But he was like one of my favorite characters, even though he's only in maybe 3 or 4 scenes. But he was just like so weird and so funny. I don't know. He kept throwing ice cream bars at them and telling them he was paying them early. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, they're paying him, and he was paying them in popsicles or whatever, and yeah,
it was just like,
I don't know. It seemed like that they could mine that sort of comedy by not really developing the characters too much and just sort of keeping it light and being able to do wacky things with them.
Yeah, like if anybody out there watched Red State, our last movie, this is like about as far from that.
I would agree. Yeah.
As far as like mood and things like that go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like a totally opposite sort of movie. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job with that. And there are a few, like I said, there are a few characters that I think were pretty memorable, even though they weren't, you know, the main characters. But they still gave them a lot of good lines and the limited scenes that they were in. So, but there were a few memorable characters in there.
Now, all that said, I gotta say, the movie in general really kind of fell flat for me. There's not a whole lot else that I'd have to say that's good. There were moments that sort of pulled me out of it, but any movie where I'm noticing the part of my DVD player that shows me how long the movie's been on, it is a bad sign. You know, that's not a good sign when I'm looking to see how much longer is this movie on, because ultimately there's fluff that's fun and you enjoy yourself the whole time, and that's why you watch it, because it's fun, or it's stupid, or it's, you know, raunchy, or whatever you like. You know, it's something you enjoy and you watch it and it's fun, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, the house show we went to was a great example. You know, it was just fun. You had a good time. You know, it was worth going in. It was worth paying the admission. You had a good time.
Right.
You know, but this I didn't have a good time in. This I didn't. There wasn't enough there to keep me interested, and so I would sort of zone out of it, and then something funny would happen, and it would grab me again for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'd sort of trail off again, and then something else would grab me, And it almost seemed like that maybe the movie is built around the really funny scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe those were the ones that either sort of came to them naturally or that they really worked on to hone. That's your trailer stuff.
Right.
A lot of comedies that happens. You watch a trailer for a comedy and you've seen all the funny parts.
Right.
If I had watched a trailer for this, I think you could have had the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where you saw all the good parts, and then there's stuff in between that's really just kind of filler. There is a story in this, but honestly, you don't even really need it that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's there for a reason, and
Right.
What little character development you do have is tied to that story.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think you can pretty much just say that it's extraneous. And it's there as sort of a scaffolding to put jokes on, and put sight gags, or things getting stuck in people's orifices.
Yeah, I think I agree that I kind of felt like that the film is sort of built off of several scenes. Like they had the framework, like, okay, here's three guys who solve mysteries. They get like, an actual crime to solve. And then like it's like, okay, let's send them here, and this will be like a scene. And let's send them here. Let's just send them to like all these places. Because in the end, when it kind of like comes together, the actual part of the movie that involves like the mystery or like the intrigue, the plot, it didn't really make sense to me. When they finally kind of like, I guess I won't spoil it in case anybody wants to watch it.
I think you can spoil this.
But
okay. We're spoiling.
Cover your ears, hit the mute button. Yeah, cause like in the end, it has something to do with them like cutting costs at a lumber company by treating their wood with chemicals or something.
Yeah.
And I guess the person who got it was a murder, and I guess the person who was murdered found out about it or something.
Yeah, it was like they knew too much.
Yeah, and like, I mean that's okay, but like there was no real intrigue that led you up to that. Like, I don't know, like you were never like wondering or really yearning to know what was going to happen next.
Right.
Like,
well, again, the mystery was extraneous.
Right. Yeah. And I think that was a mistake in the way that they put that together, because it made for a very disjointed feeling kind of movie.
And I'd even throw in a couple of recent feature films that at least one of them was probably better than this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you saw either The Hangover or Due Date,
mm-hmm.
did you see either of them?
Yes, I saw both of those.
Okay. So Due Date, not as good as
Yeah,
Hangover.
I would agree.
But they were both built around particular scenes, and the story didn't really matter. It was a scaffolding to do,
Right.
to do the show. I think to a certain extent, this movie probably gets made and gets shown at Sundance and gets popular opinion because it's, I think, 54% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Not huge, but not bad.
Right.
Because of Donald Glover,
Mm-hmm.
because of this cult of Community, which, since neither of us watch Community, we can't really argue about, which is a shame, because, sometimes it's nice for us to argue. But I've watched Community, and it never really did it for me. And that's fine. I watched Arrested Development, and it never really did it for me. To each his own,
Right.
But I think there's a certain amount of that. Like, people watch weird Jason Bateman movies because they were hoping it would be, or Will Arnett in lots of stuff.
Right.
Because they were hoping it would have some Arrested Development flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this movie probably will benefit, sales-wise at least, or view-wise, or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
from that same sort of thing. Like, oh, here's Community. Maybe this will be something like that.
Right.
And it has a certain shared sense of the absurd.
Uh-huh.
Community has, but Community really dials it up to 11 at some parts, and I understand that that's something that people really like about it. And this movie didn't really do it. Again, it would have just probably discarded the mystery or really made the mystery something weird and crazy. Like, it was aliens at the end, or wolves, or whatever. rather than just it was a lumber company that's trying to defraud people or poison people or whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, ultimately, the bad for me is just that the parts that we liked were being held up by not a lot.
Right.
The skeleton around the funny parts that we liked is pretty thin.
Yeah. I think I think it's a really big miss to make a movie based around mysteries and not give it any mystery.
Well, I mean, the real story though is about these people becoming adults
Right.
and having to move out of this childish mode, and it plays off the fact that you do have the Hardy Boys and you have Nancy Drew and Scooby Doo gang, and what happens when they have to actually grow up.
Right.
And I get that, and that's an interesting premise for a movie. Like, I would watch that movie potentially, and it could be good. But I think when you do it the way that they've done it, it's not necessarily successful in that. Again, the mystery doesn't have to be the main thing. The main thing is how they grow, and that's certainly a big part of what the story is. But like you said, I never really felt connected to the main characters.
Right.
If anything, you like some of the minor characters more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. It's more of sort of like a coming of age kind of story for the three people in the mystery team. But I feel like I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like it's like a bonus. It's basically like a gimme if you make a movie where the main part of at least the functional plot it has to do with solving crimes, and you don't inject any because like shows about solving crimes are like huge, like CSI and like stuff like that. Like people love to see a good mystery get solved, and I feel like they could have incorporated that as kind of like a subplot that would really prop it up, but it
would have been a very different film, but I think you could have done it for sure.
Yeah, it probably would have came across a bit differently, but the actual things that you find out during the investigation and things, they don't make a whole lot of sense, and they don't like. I was never intrigued by that, even though I did like the main plot about the main characters, and they're going to college and growing up, and they're kind of trying to figure out how to be adults basically, when they kind of have this mindset still from when they were kids. So
now, do you have anything that would go in our we have the good, the bad, and the stupid? Stupid or silly or egregious.
I don't know. There was one character. There was a little kid. I think he was supposed to.
Oh my gosh! We have got to stop agreeing. I'm gonna kill the show by agreeing on things. Our bread and butter is when you love something and I hate it.
I thought that little kid was the best character in the movie and not absurd at all.
Tell the truth. The little kid is lazy. The little kid. So there's a little kid who's all gangster or whatever, and he wants to talk about getting shot and being tough, and he's in the strip club and all that.
And he's like 8.
And he's 8 and carries a gun and all this stuff. It's lazy. Lazy. There's no reason for him to be in there except for making stupid jokes. And honestly, there is some funny, there is some even smart humor in this film at various times. He is not it.
Okay, come on. Tell me at the very end when he takes over their stand. Did you not laugh at that?
That's the worst.
Okay, I laughed really hard at that. I thought that was really funny. Come on. No.
No.
Well, I thought...
By that time, he had already worn out his welcome. There was no reason to have him come back.
Before that, I wasn't very impressed, but I thought his random line at the very end of the movie was really funny. I don't know why. It just kind of came out of left field. I thought it was really funny. I don't know. I'm thinking about it and I'm laughing. I don't know why.
But it's the hard part in a comedy. Writing comedy is hard. I'm not suggesting that it's easy. But I think this is one of the easiest traps to fall into. the easy laugh.
Right.
The really silly gag that will, you know, that will just do it for you. And things can be simple and still really funny.
Right.
I mean, the line that always made me laugh, and perhaps inappropriately, in The Hangover, was when Zach Galifianakis' character, someone mentions that his mother or grandmother's Holocaust ring is gone, and he says, they give out rings at the Holocaust? But I mean, it's a very simple line, and it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it's funny, and it sticks with you. But there's lots of very lazy humor that goes on. And, well, no, there's not lots of it, but the big part of it, I think, is that kid. I just think he's unnecessary. I think he embodies the bad parts of this film.
It's funny that we both picked him. He's such a minor character.
He's the Jar Jar of this movie.
He is a little. Yeah, I can see that.
He's so horrible. He's so really bad.
Oh gosh. All right. You got anything else?
No.
Is that it?
Nothing else.
Does your cat have anything to say?
I think she's asleep.
Awesome. Okay, so do you want to explain the rating scale to our kind viewers out there in YouTube land?
Certainly. So we have buy, the highest one, which means you like it so much you want to own it, you want to show it to lots of people or watch special features or just have it around. We have stream, where you want to watch it once or twice. Worth that. It's definitely, worth that. Maybe not more. It might depend on your point of view. We have clip, where we say there's funny parts or interesting parts or scary parts or whatever that you may want to watch online, but maybe not the whole thing. And then there's skip, which means it's not worth your time. And then we may add in claw, which means you want to find the creators and give them the claw.
I like it. I like it.
We may have to add in the claw. The claw is only for special occasions.
Very rare.
Very rare. Very rare. Okay, so I'm curious of your rating.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
See if your solid streams continue.
I may have to take a slight departure this week from my normal routine.
Oh, look out.
I think for this movie, I think I can safely go with a clip. Because there were, like I said kind of at the beginning, I liked a lot of, kind of 30-second exchanges or one-liners in the movie. I thought that there were a lot of kind of funny sort of individual moments throughout the movie. But I think my main complaint with the movie is kind of how all those funny parts are sort of tied together in the end. So my main complaint is not so much the actual, comedy aspect, the actual funny parts, but how all the funny parts are tied together. That is where I feel like it kind of unraveled a little bit.
I get you.
So, yeah, I mean, the movie was funny, but I think I could have probably seen all the really funny bits and funny parts on YouTube or something. Just watch the clips of it and probably gotten, most of the funny parts out of that, even out of the context of the rest of the movie. So I think for this one, I'm going to go clip.
Yeah, makes sense.
What about you?
Well, I would go actually for a skip on this one. I don't think that any of the funny parts are really anything that merit especially seeking out. I mean, if you see them, that's great, but it's nothing that you're going to stick with or you're going to, that's going to stick in your mind that you're going to tell your friends or whatever. I mean, both of us said, oh, there's funny parts, but neither one of us really mentioned any of them in particular. I think that's probably pretty telling. It just, for me, it's not one that's worth my time. I mean, if you're a big Community fan or a big Donald Glover fan and you want to see what he does, then you probably will have a good time with parts of it, but it's not for me. It's a skip.
Well, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I think we gave it a fairly good shakedown tonight. All right, so unless you have anything else that you can think of.
Oh, wait.
What?
Silent Partner's giving it the claw.
The claw? No, this is not claw worthy.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm gonna hold off on the claw on this one as well.
It's gonna have to be a pretty big deal to be a claw, I think. We might bring it out.
Frozen might have been a claw.
No, come on. I'm gonna pick something specifically so we can rate it a claw sometime.
Oh gosh.
Because I doubt we'll pick one randomly. I don't know. We'll see.
Red Zone Cuba. That's a claw.
Okay. So, just want to say thanks to Just Nathan for showing up tonight.
Oh, gee, thanks.
And giving his expert, awesome opinion. You can
I appeared. Congratulations, me.
You can check him out at Just Nathan on Twitter. He tweets with his cat often, which is exciting.
I don't know if that's true.
Anyway, go find him at Just Nathan on Twitter. I, of course, as always, is Bruce, aka Geektacular. You can find me on Twitter at Geektacular. If you haven't noticed it during our show, we have all of our awesome social media links down here at the bottom. So you can, right there. That I just learned the other day. This means I don't like something.
I thought it meant rain. I don't know.
No. If you're at like a protest.
Oh yes, you have the
This means
up and then
disapprove.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know the drill.
you
Have a
would
General Assembly episode if you want to.
you would know the
There are no
drill.
leaders in that. What are you gonna do then?
I would be so lost. Somebody lead me. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why we started talking about that, but we got. It was this, yeah. Anyway, we're on Twitter.com at Geektacular.TV, Facebook.com/Geektacular.TV, YouTube.com/Geektacular.TV, Gplus.2/Geektacular.TV. Pretty much just put Geektacular.TV at the end of any URL, and you'll probably get something of ours, I think. So be sure to follow, /like, /thumbs up our videos, /subscribe to us, /whatever. Add us to your circles or whatnot. We're everywhere. Be sure to check out Geektacular.TV to find all of our archives and our old episodes. We also have a second show called Wrestle Geek Weekly where we talk about pro wrestling that airs every week, so be sure to check that out too.
And you want more hosts for other shows? Did I hear that correctly?
What is there? There's some kind of conspiracy with my co-host calling me out about extra shows. I don't know how this started.
I think we need to get these shows down first.
Who authorized this?
Some other shows.
My name is on the show. I can tell.
If you have other show ideas, info@Geektacular.TV. I think he needs to be doing at least one a day.
I think this is sabotage.
7 shows a week.
Anyway, okay, so I mentioned it on Wrestle Geek Weekly this week, so I'll mention it here too.
No, watch Wrestle Geek Weekly. Why not?
Well, no, I'll throw it out there in case we have any viewers who want to volunteer.
All right.
Or inquire within, I suppose. One is a show about either MMOs or an MMO specifically, like World of Warcraft, which I happen to play occasionally. Shut your mouth. And a show, I'm thinking of doing also a show about Kung Fu films. So, bad Kung Fu movies to actually good Kung Fu movies and everything in between, new, old, crap, awesome, all of it. So, 2 ideas that are floating out there. If you think that maybe, you know a lot about either of these or it's just something you like talking about, feel free to tweet us at Geektacular.TV or email us at info@Geektacular.TV. and just see what's up, and maybe we can chat about it. But
recommend more shows, things involving lots of research. It's not like he has anything else to do.
no, of course not. Just shows all the time. I wish I could do this all the time. That would be awesome.
All right,
I would love to do this all the time.
let's wrap it up.
Fine. Thanks for watching Instant Gratification, episode 16. We'll catch you next week. Be sure to check our Twitter or the main page of Geektacular.TV for us to announce the movie for next week, which will be Nathan's pick. So who knows what we'll pick, but we'll announce it once we have it on our Twitter feed. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Peace. I love this theme song.
I can't hear it over Skype, so it's you don't have to sing it to me. That's fine. I've heard it before. I know it makes me laugh every time. You're never going to get through the opening without laughing, I think.